She was 6 weeks pregnant, holding the positive test in one hand, her husband's phone in the other. The text message glowed on the screen. "Last night was amazing. Can't wait for Friday. Wear that black thing I bought you." But her husband had been working late last night in Jersey at a site inspection, or so he said. Becca scrolled up, months of messages, another woman, secret plans, a life she knew nothing about. Then she found the worst part. The other woman was pregnant too, 4 months along, living in an apartment her husband was paying for. Two women, two babies, one lying, cheating husband. But here's where it gets interesting. When the mistress attacked her at a spa, she had no idea who owned that spa. She had no idea about the security cameras. She had no idea that Becca's sister was a federal prosecutor who had been waiting for exactly this moment. Some traps are accidents. This one was perfectly planned. What happened next? A courtroom showdown. Hidden bank accounts in the Cayman Islands. $200,000 in fraud, and the most unexpected alliance you've ever heard of. This is the story of how a cheating husband tried to destroy two women and ended up creating an unstoppable team. Stay with me, because this gets so much better. The pregnancy test slipped from Rebecca Hartwell's fingers and clattered against the bathroom tile. Two pink lines, clear as day, unmistakable. She stared at the white plastic stick lying on the cool marble floor. 6 weeks, maybe 7. Her hand moved instinctively to her still flat stomach. "Oh my God," she whispered to the empty bathroom. Her phone sat on the counter next to the sink. She needed to call Graham, tell him. They'd been trying for 3 months. He'd be thrilled. They'd open champagne. Well, she wouldn't drink any, but they'd celebrate. Graham's phone buzzed on the counter. He'd left it behind again, always forgetting the thing. She smiled. Her absent-minded husband, who could negotiate million-dollar real estate deals, but couldn't remember his phone when he left for work. The screen lit up with a notification. From V. "Last night was amazing. Can't wait for Friday. Wear that black thing I bought you." Becca's vision blurred. The words swam. She blinked, read them again. Last night. Graham had worked late last night. A site inspection in Jersey. He'd come home at 11:30, smelling like concrete dust and coffee. She picked up his phone. Her hand shook. Another text came through. "Miss you already. Counting down to our weekend away." The nausea hit hard. Morning sickness, or something else entirely. Becca sat down on the cool tile floor. The pregnancy test in one hand, Graham's phone in the other. Her silk robe stuck to her back despite the air conditioning running full blast. "This isn't happening." She said it out loud. "This isn't real." She unlocked his phone. His password was their wedding date. How sickeningly ironic. The message thread stretched back months. January, February, March, April. 4 months of messages, pet names, plans, explicit photos she couldn't look at for more than a second. She scrolled up, found a message from 3 weeks ago. "My wife suspects nothing." His words. About her. Becca's throat closed. She couldn't breathe. The bathroom walls pressed in. She opened a private browser window on her phone. Typed with shaking fingers. "Signs your husband is cheating during pregnancy." The articles loaded. Every single symptom described her life. Working late frequently. Check. Suddenly joined a gym. Check. Stopped initiating intimacy. Check. Became defensive when questioned. Check. Started taking his phone everywhere. Check. Her phone slipped from her hand. The sound echoed in the bathroom. Graham's key turned in the front door downstairs. 30 seconds. She had 30 seconds to decide. Confront him? Pretend everything was fine? Her legs didn't work right. She stood anyway. Flushed the pregnancy test down the toilet. Pocketed Graham's phone in her robe. Walked downstairs on autopilot. Graham stood in the kitchen. Handsome in his gray suit. Tired eyes. Genuine smile. "Hey, babe, you okay? You look really pale." He kissed her forehead like he always did, like nothing had changed, like he hadn't just destroyed their entire life together. "Stomach bug," Becca heard herself say. "I'll be fine." Poor thing. He loosened his tie. "I've got that site visit in Jersey today. Probably staying overnight. The traffic's gonna be murder coming back. Jersey. Or was it her apartment? V's apartment. I have your phone. Becca's voice sounded strange, distant. You left it upstairs. Thanks, babe. He took it from her trembling hand. Can't function without this thing. He scrolled through messages, right in front of her, completely relaxed. No guilt, no fear. How long had he been this good at lying? I'm pregnant. The words came out before she could stop them, before she could think, before she could plan. Graham froze. His coffee mug stopped halfway to his lips. His face did something complicated. Joy? Panic? Guilt? All three at once? What? Wow, that's great, Becca. Really great. He set down the mug, checked his watch, checked his watch. We'll talk tonight, okay? I really have to go. This Jersey thing can't wait. He grabbed his briefcase, his keys, kissed her cheek, and left. Becca stood in their kitchen, hand on her stomach, alone. She just told her cheating husband they were having a baby, and his first reaction had been to check the time. The clock on the microwave ticked, ticked, ticked. She walked to Graham's home office. The door stood open. His laptop sat on the desk, still logged in. She opened his messages, found the same conversation. But there were photos, dozens of photos. Vanessa Monroe, the 28-year-old junior marketing associate from his firm. Long dark hair, perfect smile. The woman who'd complimented Becca's dress at the Christmas party. The woman who was sleeping with her husband. Becca clicked through the photos. Her hands moved mechanically. Each image a knife. Vanessa in lingerie. Vanessa in Graham's car. Vanessa in what looked like a hotel room. Vanessa wearing a necklace Becca had never seen. A Cartier necklace, according to the box visible in one photo. The credit card statement, $4,000. Last month, Becca touched her bare neck, her bare wrist. She'd gotten nothing for their 6-month anniversary. Graham said money was tight. The Jersey project was expensive. But $4,000 for his mistress's jewelry? That money existed. Her phone buzzed. Claire, her best friend. Coffee this morning? Becca stared at the message. Coffee. Normal life. Pretending everything was fine. Can't. Stomach bug. Another lie. They were piling up already. She spent the next hour taking screenshots, saving files, documenting everything. The hotel receipts, the restaurants, the jewelry, the weekend trips Graham said were business conferences, the wine bar in Tribeca they'd talked about visiting together. He'd taken Vanessa there instead, multiple times. By the time she finished, the sun had moved across the kitchen floor. 2 hours had passed. She'd consumed 6 months of lies in 120 minutes. Becca called in sick to work. Her event planning job could wait. Her entire life was imploding. A corporate gala didn't matter. She sat at the kitchen table with her laptop, Graham's iPad, and a yellow legal pad. Then she picked up her phone and called the only person who could help. Diane Hartwell. Her sister's professional voice. Federal prosecutor voice. The voice that made criminals confess. Di, I need you. Becca's voice cracked on the last word. Silence. 3 heartbeats of silence. What happened? Diane's tone changed. Protective older sister now. Graham's cheating on me. I'm pregnant. He doesn't know I know about either thing. Well, he knows about the baby. I told him this morning, but he doesn't know I found out about the affair. The words tumbled out, jumbled, panicked. I'm in court in 20 minutes. Can this wait until... No, ito. More silence then. I'm on my way. Diane arrived 45 minutes later. She'd left court, left her case, driven across Manhattan in morning traffic. She came through the door with 2 large coffees and a yellow legal pad. She'd taken off her suit jacket in the car, pushed up her sleeves, war mode. Show me everything? Becca pulled up the screenshots, the credit card statements, the text messages, the photos. Diane's jaw got tighter with each new piece of evidence. Her knuckles went white around her coffee cup. He spent $4,000 at Cartier last month. Diane pointed at the screen. What did you get? Nothing. Becca touched her bare wrist. Our anniversary isn't until June. Motherfucker. Diane never cursed, ever. Not even when she'd broken her arm falling off a bike at age 10. Their mother used to joke that Diane would apologize to someone stabbing her, but now she cursed. "I'm not crazy, right?" Becca heard herself asking. "I kept thinking maybe I was being paranoid. He said I was hormonal when I asked about the late nights. He said I was imagining things when I mentioned the perfume smell on his jacket. Was I? Was this somehow my fault?" "Stop." Diane grabbed both her hands, held them tight. "Listen to me very carefully. This is textbook Darvo. Deny, an attack, reverse victim and offender. He made you question your own sanity so you'd stop questioning him. You're not crazy. You're not paranoid. You're not hormonal. You're seeing clearly for the first time in months. But how did I miss this? How did I not know? Because you loved him. You trusted him. That's not a character flaw, Becca. That's being a good wife. He's the one who broke the rules." They spent 2 hours cataloging everything. Diane made notes in her neat handwriting. Legal pad pages filled with evidence. Hotel rooms in Hoboken. Dinners at restaurants Becca had never been to. Jewelry she'd never received. Weekend trips she'd never taken. A separate credit card Becca hadn't known existed. "He's been planning this," Diane said. "Look at the timeline. He opened this card in January, right after New Year's. Right after you two decided to try for a baby." The doorbell rang. Claire stood in the hallway, still in her pediatric nurse scrubs from the night shift. She held a bag from their favorite bagel place. "I brought food. Your text worried me. Stomach bugs don't usually—" She stopped. Saw Diane. Saw Becca's face. Saw the evidence spread across the table. "Oh no. You knew." Becca heard her own voice, flat, cold. Claire's eyes filled with tears. "I saw them 3 weeks ago at that wine bar in Tribeca, the one we always said we'd try. They were— I didn't know how to tell you. I'm so sorry. I should have told you immediately. I just didn't know how." The betrayal stacked like bricks, one on top of another. Building a wall, her husband, her best friend. Who else knew? "I was going to tell you," Claire said. Her voice shook. "I swear, I was just trying to figure out the right way. I didn't want to blow up your life over one dinner. I thought maybe I was wrong, maybe it was innocent." With his hand on her thigh? Becca's memory supplied the detail before Claire could. "I'm so sorry." Diane's phone buzzed. She glanced at the screen, went very still. "Becca, Graham just applied for a $50,000 personal loan at 3 different banks." "What?" The room tilted. "Why would he need $50,000? He's moving money, getting ready for something." Diane's prosecutor brain worked fast. "He's planning to leave. He's going to leave you pregnant and broke." "Not if we get there first." Becca surprised herself. Her voice didn't shake. "What do we do?" "We build a case, document everything, transfer money to accounts he can't access, secure your position." Diane opened her laptop. "I know people, good people. We're going to protect you." Claire sat down. "What can I do?" "Call every mutual friend we have. Find out who else knew. I need to know how many people watched this happen." The bagels sat uneaten on the table. The coffee went cold. Diane made phone calls, called in favors. Within an hour, she had a private investigator on retainer, a divorce attorney on standby, a forensic accountant ready to trace Graham's money. "Federal prosecutors don't mess around," Diane said, "and nobody hurts my little sister." The private investigator called back at 2 in the afternoon. Diane put it on speaker. "Your brother-in-law has been busy. That Vanessa chick? She's not just his mistress. She's pregnant too." The room spun. Becca gripped the edge of the table. "What?" All 3 women spoke at once. 4 months along, she's been posting about it on a private Instagram account. Baby daddy's unnamed, but the timeline matches your guy perfectly. And get this, she just signed a lease on a 2-bedroom condo in Hoboken. Guess who co-signed? Becca couldn't breathe. The air wouldn't come. Her lungs forgot how to work. 2 babies. He'd gotten his mistress pregnant while actively trying to get his wife pregnant. "There's more," the investigator said. "The condo's expensive, $3,000 a month. He's also been making deposits into an account in her name. Looks like he's been supporting her for months." Diane thanked him, hung up, looked at Becca. Breathe, just breathe. But Becca couldn't. The panic attack hit hard. Everything went fuzzy at the edges. Claire grabbed her shoulders. Nurse mode. Head between your knees, now. Breathe slowly, in through your lung, out through your mouth. The room stopped spinning eventually. Maybe 5 minutes later. Maybe 10. He was hedging his bets, Becca heard herself say. He was building a backup family. If I didn't get pregnant, he had her. If she didn't get pregnant, he had me. He was running a clinical trial on which woman would give him a baby first. That's sociopathic, Claire said. That's my brother-in-law. Diane's voice carried pure rage. And he just made the biggest mistake of his life. What do you mean? He pissed off a federal prosecutor who has unlimited resources and zero patience for men who hurt pregnant women. Diane made another call, then another. Her network activated. By 4 in the afternoon, Becca had a strategy, a team, a plan. We don't confront him yet, Diane said. We need more leverage, more information. Right now, he thinks he's in control. Let him think that a little longer. Meanwhile, we secure everything you need to survive this. I want to confront him, Becca said. I want to see his face when I tell him I know everything. Soon, but not yet. We do this right. Becca sat in her car outside their apartment building at 6 that evening. She'd been circling the block for 20 minutes, unable to go inside, unable to face the apartment full of lies. She picked up her phone, locked it, unlocked it, locked it again. 3 times she did this. Lock, unlock, lock. Finally, she opened the group text with her old college roommates, women she'd been neglecting since the wedding, since Graham had slowly isolated her from everyone who knew her before him. Hey, strangers, life update. I'm pregnant. She typed, then deleted. Tried again. I'm pregnant, and my husband's mistress is also pregnant. So that's fun. Her finger hovered over send. She pressed it. The responses came fast. Shock, outrage, offers of wine and couches and revenge. Sam, her old roommate who'd never liked Graham, sent, Want me to post his number on Craigslist? I've gotten very creative with fake ads. Last guy who ghosted me got 47 calls about a free hot tub. Despite everything, Becca laughed. It hurt her chest, but she laughed. She walked into the apartment building, rode the elevator to the 8th floor, put her key in the lock. Graham sat on the couch, tie loosened, looking nervous. We need to talk about the baby. Yeah, we do. He actually looked relieved, like he'd been dreading this conversation. Look, the timing's not great with work. The Jersey project's underwater. Money's really tight right now. Maybe we should wait. Wait. Becca's voice stayed calm, eerily calm. I'm already pregnant, Graham. We can't wait. I mean, there are options. It's early. We could? No. His face hardened. The mask slipped. Becca, be reasonable. Think about our finances. Think about timing. Think about how far along is Vanessa? The color drained from his face. Complete, instant terror. What? How far along is Vanessa? Graham stood so fast the coffee table rocked. His water glass tipped over. Water spread across the wood surface. Neither of them moved to clean it. What are you talking about? Don't. Becca's voice cut like glass. Don't lie to me. Not anymore. How far along is she? I don't. That's not. You're. He ran both hands through his hair. The tell. He always did that when he lied to clients, when he couldn't close a deal, when he was cornered. 4 months, 2-bedroom condo in Hoboken. You co-signed the lease 3 weeks ago, $3,000 a month. While I was taking fertility vitamins you bought me. Each word landed like a stone. Heavy, solid, undeniable. Did you get her the same vitamins? Were you running some kind of experiment? Graham's phone rang. He looked at the screen. Vanessa. Becca watched him decline the call. It's not what you think. Then what is it, Graham? Please, explain it to me. I'm very interested in your version of events. He sat down, stood up again, paced to the window, paced back. The man who presented million-dollar proposals to investors couldn't find words for his pregnant wife. It just happened. 4 words. That's all he had. It just happened. Which part just happened? The affair? The second pregnancy? The secret apartment? The $50,000 loans you're taking out behind my back? The Cartier necklace I never got? The wine bar in Tribeca we never went to? Which part just happened, Graham? His eyes narrowed. The fear transformed into anger. Classic, predictable. You went through my finances? You're having a baby with your coworker while married to me. Becca heard herself screaming, felt her throat go raw, felt something inside her break open. But sure, I'm the problem. I'm the one who violated your trust by checking our joint bank account. Graham's face transformed completely. The mask dropped. The caring husband disappeared. Someone else stood in front of her. Someone she'd never met before. You have no idea the pressure I'm under. That project in Jersey's hemorrhaging money. My mother expects grandkids. You've been obsessed with getting pregnant for months. The sex became a chore. Everything became about ovulation and timing, and so you got your mistress pregnant instead? How does that solve anything? Vanessa understands me. She doesn't nag about where I am, doesn't track my phone, doesn't make everything about her feelings. She's easy, uncomplicated. She just lets me be. Get out. This is my apartment too. I pay the... Get out. Becca's voice didn't sound like her own. It came from somewhere deep, somewhere primal, somewhere she'd never accessed before. I pay for this apartment. My name's on the lease. You don't get to kick me out. Fine, then I'll leave. But hear me clearly, Graham. I deserve better than this. I deserved honesty. I deserve respect. I deserved a husband who didn't get his 28-year-old coworker pregnant while trying for a baby with his wife. She grabbed her purse, her laptop, her phone. Graham stepped in front of the door. Where are you going? Somewhere you're not. Becca, wait. Let's talk about this like adults. You're upset. You're emotional. That's understandable. But we can work through this. Couples therapy. We can move. Something in her voice made him step aside. She walked past him, out the door, down the hall, into the elevator. Her hands shook so hard she couldn't press the button. A neighbor reached around her, pressed it for her, gave her a concerned look. You okay? No, but I will be. She ended up at Diane's apartment. Tom, Diane's husband, answered the door, still in his defense attorney suit. He took one look at Becca's face and pulled her inside. Di, he called. Emergency. Diane appeared from her home office, took in Becca's appearance, the shaking hands, the wild eyes. You confronted him. I confronted him. How'd it go? He blamed me, said I was obsessed with getting pregnant, said Vanessa was easy and uncomplicated, said I'd calm down eventually. Classic. Tom handed her a glass of water. They always say that, the cheaters, like emotions are irrational, like anger at betrayal is unreasonable. Becca's phone buzzed. Text from Graham. What the fuck did you do? Vanessa's been arrested? You've destroyed everything. She stared at the message, read it 3 times. What's he talking about? Becca looked at Diane. Vanessa's been arrested? Diane pulled out her phone, made a call. Hey, it's Hartwell. What happened? She listened. Her expression never changed. Professional prosecutor face. Thanks. She hung up, looked at Becca. Vanessa Monroe just got arrested for making terroristic threats. She sent you a text message about 2 hours ago from a burner phone, very detailed threats about what she'd do to you and your baby. I never got any threats. You did. Your phone's on my account, remember? I set up forwarding when you were worried about that stalker at work last year. Never turned it off. The message came through to my security system. Automatic flag. Automatic police report. You set her up. I protected you. There's a difference. Yes. Diane sat down next to her. Becca, that woman is dangerous. She sent 12 threatening messages in the last 3 days. All to your number. I just intercepted them. Show me. Diane pulled up the messages, each one worse than the last. You stupid bitch. He was mine first. Stay away from him or you'll regret it. I hope your baby dies. I know where you live. I know where you work. Watch your back. The messages went on. Graphic, Violent, explicit. Oh my God. She's unstable. Graham's been lying to her too. Telling her you trapped him. Telling her you're keeping him from his real family. He's been manipulating both of you. Becca looked at her phone. At Graham's text about Vanessa being arrested, she typed back, I destroyed everything? I wasn't the one who got my coworker pregnant while married. But go off. His response came immediately. She's scared, alone. You did this on purpose. She threatened to kill me and my baby, your baby. But sure, she's the victim here. We need to talk, in person. My lawyer will be in touch. She blocked his number. It felt like cutting off a limb. It felt like breathing for the first time in months. Both things were true. Tom ordered Chinese food. They ate in silence. Becca's fortune cookie said, change is coming, embrace it. She laughed until she cried. Or maybe she cried until she laughed. Hard to tell the difference anymore. You can stay here, Diane said, as long as you need. Thank you. That night, Becca lay in Diane's guest room. Hand on her stomach. Baby the size of a lemon, growing inside her, unaware that the world had just exploded. She remembered the moment she'd fallen in love with Graham. A coffee shop in Soho. He'd bumped into her, spilled her latte, bought her a new one, told a terrible joke, made her laugh. That was 3 years ago. Different lifetime, different people. Or maybe not. Maybe he'd always been this person. Maybe she'd just been too in love to see it. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. You stupid bitch. He was mine first. Stay away from him or you'll regret it. She took a screenshot, sent it to Diane. Diane's response? That's threatening a pregnant woman. Criminal charge. She just gave us ammunition. Let her dig her own grave. Morning came too early. Becca woke to nausea, morning sickness, or stress, or both. She made it to the bathroom just in time. Diane appeared in the doorway with ginger tea and crackers. Welcome to pregnancy. This is awful. It gets better around week 14, or so they tell me. Diane sat on the bathroom floor next to her. Never been pregnant myself, too busy putting criminals in jail. Do you regret it, not having kids? Sometimes. Then I remember I can sleep whenever I want and drink wine and travel, so no, not really. Diane handed her the tea. Tom and I are happy. That's enough. Were you always sure about Tom? God, no, I was terrified. Marriage is scary. Trusting someone with your whole life, giving them the power to destroy you, that takes courage. Diane paused. But Tom's not Graham. Tom tells the truth even when it hurts, even when a lie would be easier. How do you know? How can you ever really know? You can't, not completely. That's the scary part. That's also the beautiful part. Faith. Becca drank the tea. Her stomach settled slightly. I have a doctor's appointment today. Confirm the pregnancy. I don't want to go alone. I'll come. Tom can cover my morning meetings. They drove to the doctor's office in silence. The waiting room was full of pregnant women. Happy couples, excited families. Becca felt like a fraud. The ultrasound showed a tiny blob. The doctor said everything looked good. Healthy, on track. Due date in January, 6 months away. 6 months to figure out her entire life. Do you want to hear the heartbeat? The doctor asked. Becca nodded, couldn't speak. The sound filled the room. Fast, strong, determined. She started crying. Couldn't stop. It's okay, the doctor said. Hormones make everything intense. But it wasn't hormones. It was grief. Her baby had a heartbeat. Her marriage had a death certificate. Diane drove her back to the apartment. Their apartment. Becca's apartment. Whatever it was now. You sure you want to go back there? I need clothes. I need my things. I can't live out of an overnight bag forever. I'll come with you. Graham's car wasn't in the parking garage. Good, coward. The apartment looked the same. Felt different. Like a movie set. Fake. Hollow. Becca packed a suitcase, clothes, toiletries, her laptop, important documents, her mother's jewelry box, photos of her mother. Dead 5 years now from breast cancer. She'd never meet her grandchild. What would Mom say? Becca asked the empty room. Diane stood in the doorway. She'd say a man who cheats on his pregnant wife isn't a man at all. She'd say you know what to do. I do know. That's the hard part. Knowing what to do and actually doing it are different things. Becca sat on the bed she'd shared with Graham, the bed where they'd tried to make this baby, the bed where he'd probably slept with Vanessa too. She stood up fast. I can't stay here, not ever, not even tonight. Then don't. We'll get movers. Pack everything. You never have to come back. Where will I go? Figure that out later. Right now, just leave. They loaded the car. Becca took one last look at the apartment, 6 months of marriage, condensed into 3 suitcases and 2 boxes. Not much to show for a lifetime commitment. Her phone rang. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer. Hello? Mrs. Hartwell, this is Detective Ryan O'Brien. I'm investigating the threats made against you. Do you have time to come to the station? Now? If possible, we have some questions, and we need you to give a statement. Diane grabbed the phone. This is Diane Hartwell. I'm her sister and her attorney. We'll be there in 20 minutes. The police station smelled like coffee and desperation. Detective O'Brien looked tired. Gray hair, kind eyes, wedding ring. Thank you for coming in. He pulled out a folder. We've arrested Vanessa Monroe for making terroristic threats. She posted bail an hour ago. We need you to give a statement about your relationship with her. I don't have a relationship with her. She's sleeping with my husband. Understood, but she seems to think you're the problem. She's been telling people you trapped your husband, that you got pregnant on purpose to keep him, that you're preventing him from being with his real family. His real family? Becca's voice rose. I'm his wife. I'm carrying his child. That's his real family. I'm just telling you what she's saying. O'Brien pulled out more papers. She's also been following you. We pulled her phone records. She's been outside your apartment building 17 times in the last 2 weeks. Outside your work 6 times. She knows your routine. Ice flooded Becca's veins. She's stalking me. That's our assessment. Combined with the threats, we believe she's dangerous, especially to you and your unborn child. Diane leaned forward. What can we do? File for a restraining order, emergency order. Judge can see you tomorrow morning. With the evidence we have, it'll be granted. Do it, Becca said. They spent 2 hours at the station, giving statements, signing papers, building a case. Detective O'Brien walked them out. Mrs. Hartwell, be careful. She's out on bail. She's angry. She's pregnant. That's a dangerous combination. I will. Diane's phone rang on the drive home. She answered on speaker. Di, it's Mitchell. Mitchell Price, the divorce attorney. I got the financial records. You need to see this. Send them over. Already did. Check your email. Diane pulled over, opened her email on her phone, clicked the attachment. Her face went white. Son of a bitch. What? Graham's been hiding money, not just the $50,000 in personal loans. He's got an account in the Cayman Islands, almost $200,000. What? Look, Diane showed her the screen. Bank statements, Graham's name. Account opened 6 months ago, right after their wedding. He'd been planning this from the beginning. That's fraud, Diane said. That's hiding assets. That's a federal crime. Can we use it? Oh, we're definitely using it, and I'm calling every contact I have at the IRS. Graham just became their new favorite target. 3 days later, Becca woke in Diane's guest room. Sun streamed through unfamiliar windows. She'd been having the same dream every night, walking down the aisle, marrying Graham. Except in the dream, everyone in the church was laughing. She never knew why. Now she knew. Her phone showed 8 missed calls from Graham, 12 texts. She'd blocked his number, but he was using different phones. Friends' phones, work phones, burner phones. We need to talk. You're being unreasonable. Think about the baby. My mother wants to meet with you. She deleted them all without reading past the preview text. Diane knocked on the door. You awake? Unfortunately. I have a proposition. Diane came in with coffee. Real coffee. The good stuff. I own a spa, Serenity Haven, you know it. The one downtown, the fancy one? That's the one. It's not just a spa. It's a legitimate business that covers overhead, while I prosecute criminals. Also gives me contacts. Everyone talks in spas, judges, politicians, defense attorneys. I hear things, okay? I want you to come in today. Full pregnancy spa package, prenatal massage, facial, the works. You need to decompress. This stress isn't good for the baby. Becca almost said no, then thought, why should I hide? I didn't do anything wrong. What time? Noon. I cleared the whole spa, just you. Total privacy. The spa smelled like eucalyptus and lavender. Soft music played, water fountains burbled. Everything designed for peace. Becca wore a plush robe, sat in the relaxation lounge, drank herbal tea. A woman approached. Dark hair, gentle smile, slight Russian accent. Miss Hartwell, I'm Marina. I'll be doing your prenatal massage today. We focus on safely relieving tension for expecting mothers. Nothing that could harm the baby. Thank you. The massage room was dimly lit, warm. Marina's hands were skilled, professional, kind. You're carrying a lot of tension in your shoulders, very common in first trimester. I'm stressed. I can tell. Try to breathe. Let it go. Whatever you're holding on to, just release it for the next hour. Becca tried to let her mind drift, tried to relax. She thought about her mother. What would she say about all this? Mom who'd stayed married to dad for 40 years. Mom who'd believed in commitment, in working through problems. But mom had also believed in respect, in honesty, in partnership. Baby girl, mom used to say, a man who cheats on his pregnant wife isn't a man at all. You know what to do. She did know. She'd always known. The hard part was accepting it. Marina finished the massage. Take your time getting up. Drink lots of water. Diane's waiting in the relaxation lounge when you're ready. Becca sat up slowly. The world tilted slightly. Pregnancy or emotional vertigo, both felt the same. She wrapped the robe tighter, opened the door, and walked straight into Vanessa Monroe. The other woman stood in the hallway, belly obvious now in a tight dress, face twisted with pure rage. You! Vanessa's voice echoed off the stone walls, filled the peaceful space with violence. How did you... Becca backed into the massage room. He told me everything. How you trapped him, how you got pregnant on purpose, how you're trying to steal him from me. Vanessa advanced, each step deliberate, threatening. I'm carrying his first baby. His first, not yours, mine. Time slowed down. Becca saw Diane running from the office, saw Marina reaching for the phone. But Vanessa moved faster. She shoved Becca, hard, with both hands. Becca's hip hit the massage table. Pain exploded. She threw her hands out, caught herself, protected her stomach, protected the baby. You think you're so much better than me? You are pathetic. He doesn't love you. He never loved you. You're just the wife. I'm his future. I'm carrying his son. You're nothing but... Diane's hand locked around Vanessa's wrist. Federal prosecutor grip. The grip that had cuffed mobsters and murderers. Touch my sister again. I fucking dare you. Vanessa tried to pull away. Couldn't. Diane's grip was iron. Let go of me. You can't... This is my spa. In my building. With cameras everywhere. You just committed assault on a pregnant woman. On camera, with witnesses. Marina stood by the phone. Police are on the way. Vanessa's face went white. This is insane. I barely touched her. She's exaggerating. She's always exaggerating. Graham said she's dramatic about everything. Graham's not here, and that's assault, with potential harm to an unborn child. Sirens outside, getting closer. Detective O'Brien walked through the door 4 minutes later. 2 uniformed officers behind him. He looked at Vanessa, looked at Diane, looked at Becca, sitting on the floor holding her hip. Ms. Monroe, we meet again. This is entrapment. She planned this. She wanted me to come here. Diane handed O'Brien her card. Diane Hartwell, Assistant U.S. Attorney, Eastern District of New York. This woman just assaulted my pregnant sister. On camera, I have the entire incident recorded from 3 angles. Vanessa looked at Diane, really looked at her, saw the federal prosecutor, saw the trap, saw what she'd walked into. You set this up. This whole thing was a setup. Diane smiled. Not friendly, not warm, predatory. My spa, the one I own, the one located next to the federal courthouse, with surveillance cameras and priority police dispatch, that's where you chose to confront my sister, the federal prosecutor's sister. O'Brien pulled out handcuffs. Ms. Monroe, you're under arrest for assault. You have the right to remain silent. I want my lawyer. Smart choice. You're going to need one. They led Vanessa away. Still protesting? Still insisting this was a trap. Still not understanding that it didn't matter. You can't assault someone even if it is a trap. Becca sat on the floor. Couldn't move. Couldn't process. Everything had happened so fast. EMTs arrived, checked her vitals. Blood pressure elevated, pulse racing, baby heartbeat strong, still strong. You're okay. Baby's okay. The young EMT had kind eyes, maybe 25. Reminded Becca of herself at that age. Naive, trusting. But you should follow up with your OB. Any cramping, bleeding, anything unusual. Straight to the ER. I understand. She signed the form refusing transport. She wouldn't let Vanessa take anything else. Not her piece, not her baby, nothing. Claire arrived 10 minutes later, still in scrubs from her hospital shift. Diane had called her. Jesus, Becca. I'm okay. No, you're not, and that's okay too. Claire pulled a chair close, sat down, took Becca's hand. You don't have to be strong right now. You don't have to be okay. You can fall apart. That's allowed. The permission broke something open. Becca started crying. Not pretty crying, the ugly kind, the kind that comes from deep inside, the kind that leaves you raw. She cried for her marriage, for the future she'd imagined, for the baby growing inside her who would never have married parents, for having to explain someday why mommy and daddy weren't together. The hardest part is admitting I knew, Becca said through tears. Some part of me knew all along. The late nights, the phone calls he'd take in another room, the way he stopped really seeing me. I knew, and I let myself not know. Because knowing meant facing this, meant losing everything. That's not weakness, Claire said. Her voice cracked. That's love. You loved him. That's not a character flaw. That's being human. He's the one who broke the rules. He's the one who failed. Diane came back with coffee and a manila folder. Professional mode now, sister mode, protector mode. Vanessa Monroe has been arrested and charged with assault on a pregnant woman. She posted bail within an hour. Graham paid it. I've already filed for an emergency restraining order. Hearings Monday morning. Judge Patricia Donovan is presiding. She had a similar case last year. She won't be sympathetic to women who attack pregnant women. Graham paid her bail? Of course he did. He's still playing both sides, still trying to keep everyone happy, still thinking he can manage this. Becca's phone buzzed. Text from Graham. What the fuck did you do? Vanessa's been arrested? You've destroyed everything. Everything. She stared at the message, read it 3 times, each word a fresh wound. She typed back, I destroyed everything. I wasn't the one who got my co-worker pregnant while married. But go off. His response came instantly. She's scared, alone, pregnant. You did this on purpose. You set her up. She assaulted me. Your pregnant wife, me, carrying your baby. But sure, she's the victim here. We need to talk, in person, now. My lawyer will be in touch. Don't contact me again. She blocked his new number. How many phones did he have? He'll just get another phone, Diane said, reading her mind. They always do. That's why we're getting the restraining order extended to him too. After Monday, he legally can't contact you. If he does, he goes to jail. Good. Becca meant it. Monday morning, Judge Patricia Donovan's courtroom. Becca wore a navy dress that showed her stomach. 6 months along now. Impossible to hide. Impossible to ignore. Vanessa sat with her lawyer, also pregnant, also obvious. 4 months. The judge's eyes flicked between them. Her expression hardened. Let me understand this correctly. Judge Donovan read the file. Ms. Monroe, you're engaged in a romantic relationship with Ms. Hartwell's husband. You're both pregnant by the same man, and you assaulted Ms. Hartwell at a spa? Vanessa's lawyer stood, young, nervous, court-appointed. Your Honor, my client denies the assault. This is a misunderstanding blown out of proportion by counselor. The judge's voice could freeze nitrogen. There's security footage from 3 angles. Police reports from 2 officers, medical documentation from EMTs, witness statements from 4 people. What part is misunderstood? My client barely touched. Your client shoved a pregnant woman into a massage table. That's assault. Next words out of your mouth better be good ones. Vanessa's lawyer sat down, looked at his notes, clearly had no good words. If I may, Your Honor, Graham's voice from the back of the courtroom. He stood, walked forward, handsome in his suit, confident, stupid. This is partially my fault. The stress I've caused both women. If I could just explain, sit down. Judge Donovan pointed at the gallery. Her face was stone. You're not a party to these proceedings. You're not a witness. You're not an attorney. You're nothing in this courtroom. And another word and I'll hold you in contempt. Do you understand? Graham sat, face red, humiliated. Good. Judge Donovan turned back to Vanessa. Ms. Monroe, pregnant or not, affair or not, you assaulted another pregnant woman. You sent threatening text messages. You showed up at her sister's business. You stalked her. Do you understand how serious this is? She provoked me. Did she shove you? No. Did she threaten you? No. Did she show up at your workplace? No. Did she stalk you? No. The judge signed papers. Each signature hard, definitive. Emergency restraining order granted. 500 feet minimum distance. No contact, no third-party contact. Any violation results in immediate arrest. Do you understand? Your Honor, that's not fair. How is she supposed to? The lawyer tried. Fair? Judge Donovan removed her glasses. Ms. Monroe made choices. Affairs are messy. I understand that. People get hurt. I understand that too. But assault, threatening an unborn child, that crosses from messy into criminal. We're done here. She banged the gavel. Case closed. Outside the courthouse, Graham cornered Becca on the steps. Happy now? You've ruined her life. Diane stepped between them immediately. Back off. This is between me and my wife. Your soon-to-be ex-wife, who has a restraining order she can easily extend to you if you keep this up. Diane's prosecutor voice carried. Other lawyers looked over. Watched. Walk away, Graham, while you still can. You did this. He looked at Becca, eyes full of something ugly. You planned this whole thing, the spa, the attack. You wanted her arrested. I wanted to be left alone. She chose to assault me. The baby might not even be mine. The words hung in the air. Vicious, designed to wound, designed to humiliate. What? Becca heard her own voice, distant, shocked. You've been pretty friendly with that contractor who did our kitchen. How do I know the baby's mine? The courthouse steps went silent. Everyone staring, everyone listening. Becca felt Claire and Diane tense beside her, felt them ready to attack, felt them ready to destroy him. But something shifted inside her. Something crystallized. She laughed, actually laughed. You're right, Graham. It's probably not yours. Between the pool boy, the mailman, and that entire hockey team, I've been very busy. While you were screwing your coworker, I was running a one-woman brothel. Made good money too, probably more than your failing business. Graham's face flushed dark red. Becca, go away. Your mistress needs you. Oh wait, she can't come near me. 500 feet minimum. Guess you'll have to choose. Unless you want to conduct your relationship via walkie-talkie. She walked away, Diane and Claire flanking her. It should have felt like defeat. It felt like freedom. They went to a diner, ate pancakes, drank coffee, laughed about Graham's face when she'd mentioned the hockey team. I can't believe you said that, Claire said. Neither can I. It just came out. Good. Let him wonder. Let him question. Let him feel what you felt. Diane ordered more coffee. He wants you to be the victim. You just refused the role. Becca's phone buzzed, her doctor's office. Hello? Miss Hartwell, this is Dr. Chen's office. We have your test results. Can you come in today? Is something wrong? The doctor would like to discuss the results in person. Can you make a 3 o'clock appointment? Becca's heart stopped. I'll be there. She hung up, looked at Diane and Claire. Something's wrong with the baby. You don't know that, Claire said. But her nurse face had appeared. Professional, neutral, worried. They went to the doctor's office, sat in the waiting room, watched happy couples, excited families, people whose lives weren't falling apart. Chen called her back. Diane came with her. Ms. Hartwell, thank you for coming in. Dr. Chen pulled up results on her computer. Your blood work showed some concerning levels. Nothing immediately dangerous. But I want to monitor you more closely. The stress you're under isn't good for the baby. I understand you're going through a difficult divorce? You could say that. I'm prescribing rest, real rest. I want you to take leave from work. No stress, no confrontations, just peace and quiet for the next month. Can you do that? I don't have a choice, do I? Not if you want a healthy baby. They left with a prescription for prenatal vitamins and orders for complete rest. Come stay with me and Tom, Diane said in the car. Properly stay, not just visiting. Move in, we have the room. You can rest, heal, plan your next move. I can't impose like that. You're not imposing, you're family. That's what family does. So Becca moved into Diane's apartment. The guest room became her room. Her things mixed with theirs. A temporary home in the middle of chaos. That night, she sat in the new nursery corner Diane had set up. A rocking chair, a small bookshelf, a stuffed elephant from Tom. She put her hand on her stomach, felt the baby kick, strong, determined, alive. It's you and me, kid. We're going to be okay. The baby kicked again, like agreement, like a promise. 1 week later. Becca sat in Mitchell Price's office, the divorce attorney Diane had recommended. He specialized in high-net-worth divorces with infidelity. Mrs. Hartwell, let's talk assets. Becca pulled out the folder. Diane's investigation, 6 months of documentation, bank statements, property records, Graham's business filings, credit card statements, the Cayman Islands account information. Mitchell whistled low. This is very thorough. My sister's a federal prosecutor. She believes in evidence. Good genes. He flipped through pages, made notes. Your husband's in serious trouble financially. The Jersey project's underwater. He's personally liable for $3 million in loans. He's taken out additional loans against property you own jointly, without your knowledge or signature. Is that legal? No, it's fraud. With your permission, I'd like to file for immediate separation of assets. Freeze all joint accounts. Protect your share before he can hide more money or create more debit in your name. Do it. Do all of it. I'm also recommending we file for emergency spousal support. He created this situation. He needs to pay for you to live while the divorce processes. He'll fight it. Let him. We have documentation of his affair, his secret accounts, his fraud. Let him explain all that to a judge. Mitchell worked fast. Within 3 days, all joint accounts were frozen. Within a week, Graham received papers for emergency spousal support. $5,000 a month until the divorce finalized. Graham's lawyer called, then called again, then showed up at Diane's apartment. Tom answered the door. Can I help you? I need to speak with Rebecca Hartwell. It's urgent. She's not available. You can contact her through her attorney, Mitchell Price. This concerns her husband's business. It's about to collapse. She needs to know. Tom led him into the lobby. Diane came down, full prosecutor mode. What do you want, Stevens? Your sister's frozen accounts that Graham needs to make payroll. 37 people are about to lose their jobs. That's not Graham's fault. That's hers. Graham created this situation. Graham got his mistress pregnant. Graham committed fraud. Graham's failing business is Graham's problem. Those are real people with families, with mortgages, with kids. Then Graham should have thought about that before he spent $4,000 on jewelry for his mistress, before he co-signed a lease for her apartment, before he opened secret bank accounts. Diane's voice never rose, never wavered. My sister is pregnant, stressed, under doctor's orders for complete rest. Graham's business problems are not her concern. She's going to force him into bankruptcy. He forced himself into bankruptcy. She's just protecting what's hers. The lawyer left, looking defeated. That night, Becca sat in the nursery corner, the one she'd started decorating at Diane's apartment. Pale green walls, a crib they'd built together, a rocking chair that actually rocked properly, unlike the one from Graham's mother. She'd imagined doing this with Graham, building a nursery together, choosing colors, picking names, creating a family. Now she imagined doing it alone. Single mother, divorced at 32, starting over with a newborn. The thought didn't terrify her anymore. It felt real, manageable, possible. She pulled out her laptop, opened a document titled Life After Graham. Meta typed, move out of shared apartment, Isho. I said, done, find childcare near Diane, researching. Freelance event planning, sent out inquiries. Talk to boutique, hotel that wanted me last year, meeting scheduled. Save money, doing better than expected with frozen accounts. Paint new nursery, green, almost done. Tell baby the truth when old enough. Write down everything now while it's fresh. Don't let Graham's failure define my motherhood. Ongoing work. Remember, I'm stronger than I thought. Learning daily. Create a life worth living, in progress. Her phone rang. Margaret. Graham's mother. This would be fun. Hello, Margaret. Rebecca, we need to talk about this situation. What situation? Graham says you're being unreasonable, refusing to even discuss reconciliation. You're hurting his business, destroying his reputation. All over a mistake. A mistake? He got another woman pregnant while married to me. Silence. Long, uncomfortable silence. Men make mistakes, they have needs. But divorce with a baby coming, that's cruel to the child, Rebecca. Children need their fathers. You know what's cruel, Margaret? Teaching my child that cheating is acceptable, that assault is forgivable, that women should tolerate betrayal for appearance's sake. I won't do that. He's my son. And this is your grandchild. Who deserves better than a father who abandons pregnant wives? Who deserves to grow up watching a mother who respects herself? You're being selfish. You're thinking about yourself, not the baby. I'm thinking about exactly what I want to teach this baby about love, about respect, about dignity. And Graham's version of those things isn't what I want to pass on. This is ridiculous. You're throwing away a perfectly good marriage over he has a pregnant mistress, Margaret. A pregnant mistress he's been supporting financially while telling me money was tight. That's not a perfectly good marriage. That's fraud and betrayal. I'll be speaking to my lawyer about grandparents' rights. You do that. My lawyer's much better. Becca hung up, blocked the number. Tom appeared in the doorway. Heard that. You okay? Better than okay. I'm done apologizing for his choices. Good. Want some ice cream? Diane bought 3 flavors. Claims they're all for you, but I've seen her eat the chocolate chip at midnight. They ate ice cream, watched terrible reality TV, laughed at people whose problems seem simpler than theirs. Normal. This was normal. Becca could do normal. 3 weeks later, Vanessa requested a meeting through lawyers, neutral territory, a coffee shop in Midtown. Diane insisted on coming. This could be a setup. She has a restraining order. If she comes within 500 feet, she goes to jail. That's what worries me. Desperate people do stupid things. The coffee shop was busy, Monday morning rush. Vanessa sat at a corner table, visibly pregnant now, circles under her eyes. Makeup couldn't hide the exhaustion. She stood when Becca approached, didn't extend her hand. Thank you for coming. Becca sat. Diane stood 3 tables away, close enough to intervene, far enough to give them space. You have 10 minutes. Graham left me, Vanessa's voice cracked. Moved out 3 days ago, said it's too complicated, too messy, said he can't handle the stress. He wants nothing to do with the baby. The satisfaction Becca expected didn't come. Just weary recognition. He told me you trapped him. Vanessa twisted her coffee cup. He said you got pregnant on purpose to keep him, that your marriage was failing anyway, that you were controlling and jealous and unreasonable. Let me guess. He said I was emotionally unstable? That I made everything about me, that I didn't understand him? Word for word. Vanessa looked up, met her eyes. He's saying the same things about you that he's now saying about me. The women sat in silence. Both pregnant by the same man, both betrayed, both facing single motherhood. The situation was absurd, tragic, darkly funny. He's not paying child support, Vanessa said. His business is failing. Suddenly there is no money. My lawyer says it could take years to get anything. My lawyer says the same thing. The condo he co-signed, he's trying to break the lease. Stick me with the debt. $3,000 a month I can't afford. He took out $50,000 in loans against our apartment, forged my signature. I didn't know until the banks called. Vanessa laughed, bitter, hard. We're both screwed. Completely. I'm sorry, Vanessa said it quietly. For the spa, for the texts, for all of it. He told me you were cold, unfeeling. That you'd driven him away with your demands. He made you sound like a monster. Let me guess. He needed someone who understood him, someone who didn't make everything so complicated? Every word of that, yes. Vanessa wiped her eyes. I believed him. I thought I was saving him from you. God, I'm an idiot. We both are. That's his gift, making smart women feel crazy. They sat with that truth, let it settle. I can't afford a good lawyer, Vanessa said. Mine's court-appointed, barely has time to meet with me. Graham's got Mitchell Price, the shark. I'm going to lose everything. Mitchell's my lawyer. Vanessa's face fell. Of course he is. Of course you can afford the best. But my sister's a federal prosecutor. She might know someone who handles cases pro bono, someone who'd love to destroy a man screwing over two pregnant women simultaneously. Why would you help me? Because Graham's counting on us fighting each other. Staying divided, easier to manipulate separately, easier to hide money from both of us, easier to play victim. Becca finished her tea. But together we know everything, where the money is, where the lies are, all of it. Vanessa studied her. You're serious. Completely. He created this situation. Time for him to face it. There's something else. Vanessa pulled out her phone. He's not broke. Graham is hiding money. I found this by accident last month. Foreign account. Cayman Islands. Almost $200,000. She showed Becca the screenshot. Bank statement. Graham Hartwell. Account number. Balance. How did you get this? He left his laptop open at my place. After he told me money was tight and I needed to get it to help pay for the baby. I was angry. I looked. Vanessa met her eyes. This is fraud, right? Hiding assets during divorce? It's very illegal, especially in divorce proceedings. Good, because I saved everything. Screenshots, account numbers, passwords, all his accounts, every lie, everything. Diane appeared at their table. She'd been watching, listening. Now she pulled up a chair. Did she just say what I think she said? The ex-mistress just became our star witness. Becca felt pieces clicking together. Graham tried to play us against each other. He has no idea what he's actually created. Diane smiled. Not friendly, predatory. Vanessa Monroe, meet Mitchell Price, your new pro bono attorney. He's going to love this case. 2 months later, the divorce mediation room felt cold despite the summer heat outside. Gray walls, gray table, gray chairs, everything designed to be neutral. Graham sat on one side with his lawyer. Becca sat on the other with Mitchell. Diane observed from the corner. Vanessa's testimony already on file. The mediator read the charges. Mr. Hartwell, you're accused of hiding assets, committing fraud, forging your wife's signature on loan documents, supporting a mistress while claiming financial hardship. The evidence is substantial. Graham's lawyer shifted uncomfortably. My client disputes these allegations. Your client has a Cayman Islands bank account with $197,000 that was never disclosed. Want to dispute that? Silence. Your client forged his wife's signature on 3 separate loan documents. Want to dispute that? More silence. Your client spent over $40,000 on his mistress in 6 months while telling his wife they needed to cut expenses. Want to dispute that? Graham's lawyer closed his folder. Can we have a moment? They stepped outside. 15 minutes later, they returned. Graham looked smaller, defeated. My client is prepared to settle. Mitchell leaned forward. Terms? Split all marital assets 50-50. He keeps his business. She gets the apartment. He pays child support based on his actual income, not his claimed income. Medical expenses split. College fund established now. Not enough, Mitchell said. Your client committed fraud. Your client forged documents. Your client created massive financial harm. We want punitive damages. You have the Cayman Islands money. Liquidate it. 100,000 to my client as damages. The rest goes into a trust for the child, supervised by a third party. Not Graham. Graham exploded. That's my money. I earned that. You hid it during divorce proceedings. That's fraud. Be grateful we're not pursuing criminal charges. Diane spoke for the first time. Yet, the mediator looked at Graham. Sir, I strongly suggest you take this deal. The alternative is a judge who will not be sympathetic, especially given the circumstances. What circumstances? You got your mistress pregnant while married. You assaulted your wife verbally in a public courthouse. You committed financial fraud. You forged legal documents. Do you want to take that to trial? Because I promise you it won't go well. Graham's lawyer whispered in his ear. Long conversation. Finally, Graham nodded. Fine, we'll take the deal. Mitchell laid out papers. Sign here, and here, and here. Graham signed. Each signature looked painful. Congratulations, Mrs. Hartwell. You're officially divorced. Becca stood, walked out, didn't look back. Diane caught up with her in the hallway. How do you feel? Free, terrified, relieved, all of it at once. That's normal. That's healthy. You just ended a marriage. That's allowed to hurt even when it's the right choice. Claire met them outside, brought lunch, real food from their favorite deli. They ate in the park, watched people, normal people with normal problems. I start my new job next week, Becca said. Events director at the Gramercy Hotel. Full benefits, flexible hours. They know about the baby. That's amazing, Claire said. I'm terrified. Also normal. Diane stole a chip from Becca's plate. You're starting over. That's scary. That's also brave. I don't feel brave. Brave people never do. That's what makes them brave. That night, Becca sat in her new apartment. One bedroom, small, hers, completely hers. The nursery corner had green walls. A crib from Target, not some fancy designer place. A rocking chair from a garage sale that Tom had refinished. Books from the library sale. It wasn't the nursery she'd imagined. It was better, because it was real. Her phone buzzed, a text from Vanessa. Had my son yesterday. 8 pounds, 6 ounces, James Graham Monroe. Look what we made with the world's worst man. Still somehow perfect. A photo attached. Tiny baby. Dark hair. Perfect. Becca typed back. He's beautiful. Congratulations. Thank you for everything. I know we're not friends, but I'm grateful. We're something, not sure what, but something. They weren't friends, not exactly, but they texted occasionally, compared notes on Graham's minimal child support payments, complained about his complete lack of involvement, co-parents of siblings who'd have a very strange story to tell someday. Your half-brother's mom and I became allies after your dad tried to screw us both over. Wasn't normal, but normal was overrated. 2 weeks later, Becca went into labor at 3 in the morning, called Diane, called Claire, called an Uber. Labor lasted 14 hours, long, hard, worth it. Eleanor May Hartwell entered the world at 5:17 in the evening, 7 pounds, 3 ounces. Perfect, healthy, hers. She's beautiful, Diane said, crying. Tough federal prosecutor crying over her niece. She looks like Mom, Becca said, around the eyes. She does. Mom would be so proud of you. Tom brought balloons and terrible coffee and terrible jokes. Claire brought professional nurse skills and genuine love. They stayed until visiting hours ended. Then it was just Becca and Eleanor, alone together. Hi, baby girl, I'm your mom. We're going to figure this out together. I don't have all the answers, but I promise you this. You'll never doubt that you're loved. You'll never doubt your worth. And you'll never watch me accept less than I deserve. Eleanor yawned, unimpressed with philosophy. Fair enough. You're 2 hours old. We'll work up to the deep stuff. Graham came to the hospital the next day. Diane intercepted him in the lobby. You can see your daughter, 30 minutes, supervised, then you leave. She's my daughter. I have rights. You have the rights the court gave you, which is supervised visits until you complete parenting classes and anger management. Don't test me, Graham. He saw Eleanor through the nursery window. Didn't ask to hold her. Didn't cry. Didn't show emotion. She looks like my mother, he said. She looks like my mother, Becca corrected. Your mother who you haven't spoken to in weeks. The one who threatened to sue for grandparents' rights. That was a misunderstanding. Everything's a misunderstanding with you. He left after 15 minutes. Said he had a meeting. Couldn't stay longer. Becca held Eleanor, breathed in new baby smell, felt complete. 6 months later, Eleanor was 3 months old. Perfect, healthy, screaming at 2 in the morning like a champion athlete training for the Olympics. Becca walked the small apartment in her oversized sleep shirt and fuzzy socks, bouncing Eleanor gently against her shoulder. The rhythm had become automatic. 3 steps forward, turn, 3 steps back, bounce, repeat. She could probably do it in her sleep. She practically was doing it in her sleep. I know, baby girl, I know. Life's hard. The milk doesn't come fast enough. Sleep is a distant memory. Someone keeps having digestive issues that wake up the whole building. The apartment was dark except for the small night light shaped like a moon. It cast a soft glow across the hardwood floors. Floors that creaked in 3 specific spots. Floors that were hers, completely hers. No shared lease, no joint decisions, just hers. Eleanor's screaming subsided to whimpers, then angry grunts, then soft breathing punctuated by tiny hiccups. Becca looked at her daughter in the dim light from the hallway. Graham's eyes, deep brown with flecks of gold. Her own nose, small and slightly upturned. Her mother's chin, strong, determined, a whole person who existed because of betrayal and lies and somehow was the absolute best thing that had ever happened. Your daddy's an idiot, Becca whispered into Eleanor's soft hair. But you're magnificent, absolutely magnificent. You're also very loud at 2 in the morning, but we'll work on that. She walked to the nursery corner. Not a separate room. The apartment was too small for that, but a corner she'd created with careful planning. Green walls that she'd painted herself at 7 months pregnant. Diane had tried to stop her. Claire had given her a lecture about fumes in pregnancy, but Becca had needed to do something, to create something, to prove she could build a nursery alone. The crib was from Target, not the fancy designer place Graham's mother had insisted they register at. Just Target. Simple white wood that Eleanor would outgrow in 2 years. But it was sturdy, safe, bought with her own money from her new job. The rocking chair sat in the corner. Tom had found it at a garage sale, refinished it himself, painted it soft gray, added cushions that Diane had made. Well, Diane had bought fabric and paid someone to make them. But the thought counted. Books lined a small shelf, board books from the library sale, classics from her own childhood that her mother had saved, new ones from Claire who believed every child needed a library. It wasn't the nursery she'd imagined during those first weeks of pregnancy, when she'd scrolled through Pinterest boards and designer websites, when she'd dreamed of a perfect room for a perfect baby in a perfect marriage. This was better, because it was real, built with love instead of lies, created with strength instead of pretense, every item chosen with care and intention, not someone else's vision of what her life should look like. Becca placed Eleanor in the crib, watched her daughter's chest rise and fall, marveled at tiny fingers that wrapped around nothing in sleep, tiny toes that kicked at invisible dreams, the complete miracle of her existence. The divorce had finalized 2 weeks ago. 8 months of legal battles condensed into a folder of papers that said her marriage was over. Official, final, done. Graham had fought everything. Every asset, every dollar, every single line item. He'd claimed poverty while driving a new leased BMW, claimed the Cayman account was for legitimate business expenses he'd forgotten to mention, claimed he'd been planning to declare it on his taxes, just hadn't gotten around to it yet. Judge Patricia Donovan hadn't bought any of it. She'd seen too many cases like this. Too many men who cried poverty while hiding money. Too many women left struggling while their exes lived comfortably. Mr. Hartwell, the judge had said during the final hearing, your financial statements don't match your lifestyle. Your claims don't match the evidence. Your story doesn't match reality. I'm ruling in favor of Mrs. Hartwell on all contested items. Graham's face had gone purple. This is ridiculous. She's taking everything. She's taking what's legally hers, what you tried to hide, what you attempted to steal through fraud. Be grateful I'm not holding you in contempt for wasting this court's time. The IRS had gotten involved once Diane's contacts started asking questions. Federal prosecutors had friends everywhere, including the tax fraud division. Graham currently faced multiple investigations, fraud charges, tax evasion, and child support orders for 2 children he'd spent months trying to deny, avoid, and abandon. His business had actually failed now, not the pretend failing he'd claimed for months. Real failing, bankruptcy filing, creditors calling. The whole catastrophic collapse. Karma, Becca had learned, wore expensive federal prosecutor suits and worked tireless hours. She returned to her own bedroom, small, simple, a full-size bed because a queen wouldn't fit, a dresser from IKEA that she'd assembled herself. Incorrectly at first, then correctly after Tom came over and helped her start over. Pictures on the wall, her mother, Diane and Tom on their wedding day, Claire from their college graduation, Eleanor's first photo from the hospital, new memories replacing old ones. No pictures of Graham. She'd thrown those away during a particularly cathartic afternoon when Eleanor was 2 weeks old and sleeping for once. Diane had brought wine. Well, Diane had drunk wine. Becca had eaten ice cream. They'd gone through every photo album, every framed picture, every memory. Keep her trash, Diane had asked, holding up their wedding photo. Becca had looked at it, really looked at it. 2 people smiling at the camera. She barely recognized herself. That woman who'd believed in forever, who'd thought love conquered everything, who'd been so naive. Trash. You sure you might want it someday? For Eleanor. Eleanor doesn't need to see me marrying a man who didn't deserve me. She needs to see me strong, moving forward, building something real. So they'd trashed them all. Well, saved a few in a box in the back of the closet, just in case, but removed them from daily view, from constant reminder, from the weight of what had been. Becca climbed back into bed, checked her phone, 2:37 in the morning. Eleanor would wake again at 5 for her next feeding, then 7, then 9. The schedule of new motherhood that left no time for anything else. But somehow she'd managed. Returned to work part-time at 8 weeks, full-time at 12 weeks. The Gramercy Hotel had been understanding. More than understanding. They'd been supportive in ways her old job never was. Her boss, Catherine, was a mother of 3. She understood. Do what you need to do. Take the baby to work if you need to. Pump in my office. Leave early for doctor appointments. We'll make it work. And they had made it work. Becca coordinated events from home when possible. Came in for important meetings. Brought Eleanor to the office twice when daycare was closed. Catherine had held her during a conference call, bounced her during a crisis with a catering company. This is what women do, Catherine had said. We make it work. We support each other. We refuse to choose between career and family because that's a false choice designed to keep us small. Becca had cried in the bathroom after that conversation. Hormones, exhaustion, gratitude, all of it mixed together. Her alarm went off at 5:30. Eleanor's cry followed 30 seconds later, like she had an internal alarm synchronized with modern technology. Becca got up, changed Eleanor's diaper while singing off-key, fed her while watching the sun start to rise through the window, burped her while walking the apartment's creaky floors, put her back down while praying she'd sleep another hour. Eleanor slept. Miracle, Becca made coffee. Real coffee. The good stuff from that place in Brooklyn Claire had introduced her to. Expensive, but worth it. Some mornings, coffee was the only thing that made sense. She sat at her small kitchen table, opened her laptop, checked emails from work, responded to 3 urgent messages, planned a wedding reception for 200 people, coordinated with vendors, solved problems. She was good at this, really good. Event planning had always been her strength, creating beautiful moments from chaos, making order from disorder, turning visions into reality, kind of like her life right now. Her phone buzzed, text from Claire. Coffee later? I have a 2-hour break between shifts. Yes, desperately yes. 11? Perfect. Bringing bagels. Claire arrived at exactly 11 with bagels, cream cheese, and the kind of friendship that didn't require explanation. She held Eleanor while Becca ate actual food with both hands. You look tired, Claire said. I look like a new mom who was up 6 times last night. Eleanor's going through a growth spurt. Everything makes her angry. The bottle's too slow, too fast, too warm, too cold. She's very particular for someone who can't talk yet. She's expressing her needs clearly. That's healthy. She's expressing them at 2 a.m. That's exhausting. Claire laughed, bounced Eleanor, who was wide awake and fascinated by Claire's long dark hair. How are you really, though? Beyond the exhaustion? Becca thought about it, really thought about it while chewing her bagel. You know what's weird? I thought my life was over. That morning, standing in that bathroom with the pregnancy test and Graham's phone, reading those messages, I genuinely thought everything was falling apart, that I'd lost everything. It was falling apart, but it was falling into place too. Just not the place I expected, not the place I'd planned. Becca took Eleanor back, breathed in that new baby smell that everyone talked about. I would have stayed if I hadn't found those messages. I would have overlooked so much, made excuses, convinced myself I was being too demanding, too sensitive, too much. You weren't any of those things. I know that now, but then I believed in him when he said I was hormonal, paranoid, making problems where none existed. I believed him because I wanted to believe him, because believing him was easier than facing the truth. Claire ate her bagel, let the silence sit comfortably between them. And now, she finally asked, now I know what enough actually looks like. It's not a man who makes me question my sanity. It's not walking on eggshells wondering if today's the day he gets angry about something I can't predict. It's not this. She gestured around her small apartment, her second-hand furniture, her carefully budgeted life. This is hard, really hard. Single parenting is no joke, but it's honest. And honest is better than comfortable lies. When did you get so wise? About 3 a.m. yesterday morning, during feeding number 4. I apparently have deep revelations at strange hours now. Last week I solved a major work problem at 4:30 a.m. while Eleanor was cluster feeding. They drank coffee, talked about Claire's latest dating disaster, laughed about the doctor who'd asked her out by saying, I have excellent health insurance, complained about the price of daycare, made plans to take Eleanor to the park when the weather cooled down. Normal. This was normal. Adult friendship, support, understanding, the things that had disappeared during her marriage. Graham had slowly isolated her. Nothing dramatic, just gradual, suggesting Claire was dramatic, implying Diane was too controlling, making her other friendships seem less important than their relationship. Classic isolation tactics she hadn't recognized until Diane pointed them out. Abusers do this, Diane had explained. They cut you off from support systems, make you dependent only on them. Then when you need help, you have nowhere to go. Graham wasn't abusive. He cheated, he gaslit you, he made you question your reality, he isolated you from friends, he committed financial fraud. Those are all forms of abuse, Becca. Just because he never hit you doesn't mean he didn't hurt you. That conversation had been 3 months ago. Becca was still processing it, still understanding the full scope of what her marriage had been, still unpacking the layers of manipulation she'd normalized. Claire left at 1. Diane arrived at 2:30, still in her court suit, navy blue power suit that meant she'd won her case. She only wore navy when she was certain of victory. How's my favorite niece? Your only niece is perfect, also awake, Also ready to meet her favorite aunt. Obviously, she has excellent taste. Diane scooped up Eleanor with practiced ease. 3 months of practice had made her confident. Tom liked to joke that Diane cross-examined Eleanor during diaper changes. Heard from Graham? His monthly child support check cleared. On time for the first time. Miracles happen, probably because the IRS now has direct access to his accounts. Probably, yeah. He also tried to claim Eleanor as a dependent on his taxes. What? Yeah, his accountant called mine, asked about splitting the dependency. I had our lawyers send a very clear letter explaining that no, he cannot claim a child he sees twice a month for supervised visits. The audacity of this man continues to amaze me. Becca poured tea for both of them, sat at the kitchen table while Diane held Eleanor. Watched her sister make silly faces that Eleanor loved. Want to hear something interesting? Diane had that look, the prosecutor look that meant someone was in trouble. Always. Graham's new girlfriend left him, the one he started dating 2 months after Eleanor was born, the one he introduced to his mother as his future wife. I didn't know he had a new girlfriend. Oh yes, met her at some networking event, 26 years old, works in finance. Apparently she Googled him after their third date, found the court documents, the fraud charge, the 2 baby mamas, the tax evasion investigation. Let me guess, she ran? Sprinted, blocked his number, told mutual friends he was a walking red flag factory. Diane bounced Eleanor gently. But here's the best part. He called my office yesterday. Why? Wanted to know if you'd consider reconciliation. Becca choked on her tea, actually choked, coughed for 30 seconds while Diane patted her back. Are you serious? Completely serious. He left a message with my assistant, said he's grown, changed, been to therapy, learned from his mistakes, wants to be a family. With me, the wife he cheated on, the marriage he destroyed, that's the one. Apparently being single and facing criminal charges has given him perspective. What did you say? I didn't, but I had my assistant call back with a very professional message. Something along the lines of, Mrs. Hartwell has moved forward with her life. She has no interest in revisiting past mistakes. Please direct all future communications through appropriate legal channels. I love you. I know, I'm extremely lovable. Diane handed Eleanor back. But seriously, Becca, are you okay? Hearing that he wants to reconcile? Does that mess with your head? Becca looked at Eleanor, at her daughter's perfect face, at the life they'd built together. No, it doesn't mess with my head. You know why? Because I remember. I remember how it felt to question my sanity, to wonder if I was making up problems. To walk on eggshells. I remember finding those texts, the betrayal, the lies, all of it, and no amount of therapy or growth erases that. He showed me who he was. I believe him. Good answer. That evening after Diane left, after Eleanor was fed and changed and finally sleeping, Becca stood at her window. Small apartment, small view of a brick wall, and a small slice of sky. But it was unobstructed. Clear. Hers. She pulled out her phone, opened her notes app, found the document titled Life After Graham, the list she'd made that first week after leaving, the goals that had seemed impossible then. She read through them, checked off items. Move out of shared apartment, Sean. Done, living in my own place. Find reliable childcare. Found amazing daycare near Diane's spa. Return to event planning. Now full-time events director at Gramercy. Save money. Emergency fund growing. Retirement account started. Paint nursery. Green walls exactly as I wanted. Write down truth for Eleanor. Journal almost full. Don't let his failure define my motherhood. Learning daily. Remember I'm strong and evidence mounting. Create a life worth living. Actually living it now. Build support system. Diane, Claire, Tom, work friends. Establish boundaries with Graham. Legal and enforced. Learn to trust my instincts. They were right all along. She added new lines. Remember, the prison door was unlocked all along. I was my own warden. Never again. Teach Eleanor. Your worth comes from within, not from who chooses you. Show Eleanor what healthy love looks like, even if I have to find it again someday. Prove to Eleanor women can rebuild. can start over, can thrive after devastation. Eleanor stirred in her crib, made that little sound, the one that meant she'd wake in 5 minutes. Like clockwork, Becca went to her daughter, picked her up before she could fully wake, sat in the rocking chair that creaked in a specific rhythm. "Here's what I learned, baby girl," she whispered. "Your worth isn't determined by who loves you or who doesn't. Your value isn't in being chosen by someone else. It's in knowing yourself well enough to choose yourself, to choose what you deserve, to choose truth over comfort every single time." Eleanor yawned, stretched, made a sound that might have been agreement or might have been gas. "Also, your Aunt Diane is terrifying and I love her for it. Your Uncle Tom tells terrible dad jokes and we tolerate him anyway. Your Auntie Claire will teach you that speaking up is powerful. These are your people, your tribe, your family." She rocked slowly. Eleanor's breathing evened out, sleep coming again, the brief wake that sometimes happened between sleep cycles. "Your father is complicated. He made choices that hurt people. He'll be part of your life because that's important. You deserve to know him, to make your own decisions about him when you're old enough." Eleanor's eyes opened briefly, looked at her, then closed again. "But you need to know this. His choices don't define you. His mistakes don't limit you. His failures don't predict yours. You're your own person, with your own future, your own choices to make." Becca's phone buzzed quietly. Text from Vanessa. They texted occasionally now. Strange friendship born from shared experience. James smiled today, real smile. Not gas, first time, I cried for 10 minutes. Becca typed back with one hand. Eleanor smiled last week, complete game changer. Changes everything. Graham texted today. Wanted to know if James could be in his family Christmas card. With his new girlfriend, well, ex-girlfriend, now apparently. What did you say? I said James and I are our own family. He can make his own card with whoever he wants. We're not props for his redemption narrative. Good answer. Eleanor and I are our own family too. We're doing okay. The two of us. We're doing okay too. Better than okay, actually. They weren't friends exactly. They weren't sisters. They were something else entirely. Two women connected forever by a man who'd hurt them both. Two mothers raising half-siblings who'd have the strangest origin story. Did Graham really ask you about reconciliation? Vanessa texted. Apparently, through Diane's office. He asked me too, last week. Said we could all be a family. One big happy family. What did you say? I laughed, then I hung up. Then I blocked his new number. He has multiple numbers now? At least 4 that I know of. He keeps buying burner phones. That's not concerning at all. Right? Totally normal behavior from a totally normal person. They texted for a few more minutes, comparing notes on Graham's minimal involvement, his sporadic payments, his complete lack of understanding about what babies actually need. He brought James a toy helicopter last visit, Vanessa wrote. James is 3 months old. Eleanor got a stuffed animal that plays loud music at 8 p.m., right before bedtime. Does he not understand babies? I don't think he understands anything. Becca looked at Eleanor, sleeping peacefully now, unaware that her father was a disaster, unaware that her mother was texting with her father's other baby mama, unaware that family could be complicated and strange and still full of love. She put Eleanor back in the crib, covered her with the soft blanket, the one Diane had knitted, badly, with more love than skill. It was lumpy and uneven and absolutely perfect. Becca pulled out her journal, the one she kept for Eleanor. So someday her daughter would understand, would know the whole truth, would see how they'd survived and thrived. She wrote, Dear Eleanor, 3 months old today. Time is strange with a baby. Days feel endless. Weeks fly by. Somehow you're already so big. Today Claire brought bagels. Diane brought gossip about your father. You drooled on both of them. They didn't mind. Your father wanted to reconcile. Can you imagine? The man who destroyed our family now wants to rebuild it. As if trust works that way. As if betrayal can be undone with therapy and good intentions. I said no. Not because I'm bitter. Not because I can't forgive. But because I remember who I was with him, small, questioning, uncertain. always wondering if I was asking too much by expecting basic honesty. I won't go back to being that woman. Not for him, not for anyone. You might think that's sad someday, that I gave up on your father, that I didn't try hard enough to keep your family together. But here's the truth. I tried harder than anyone should have to try. I forgave things that shouldn't be forgiven. I overlooked things that should have been deal breakers. I shrunk myself to make room for his ego. That's not love. That's survival. And I was tired of just surviving. Now I'm living. We're living. Building something real from something broken. Your father might get his act together someday. He might become the father you deserve. I hope he does. You deserve that. But I won't put my life on hold waiting for him to change. I won't teach you that women wait for men to decide we're worth treating well. I'll teach you that we decide. We choose. We build the lives we want. And if someone doesn't treat us well, we leave. We rebuild. We thrive anyway. That's the lesson. That's what I want you to know. You are 3 months old. You sleep and eat and poop and smile occasionally. You have no idea what I'm writing, but someday you will. Someday you'll read this and understand. Your mom was strong, even when she didn't feel strong, even when she was terrified, even when everyone told her to forgive and forget and try harder. Your mom chose herself, chose you, chose truth over comfort, and that made all the difference. Love you forever, Mom, P.S. You smiled at Aunt Diane today. She pretended not to cry. She definitely cried. Becca closed the journal, put it on the shelf next to the growing collection. She'd filled 2 journals already. Eleanor's entire life documented the good days, the hard days, the normal days that felt extraordinary just because they'd survived them. She climbed into bed, set her alarm for 5:30. Eleanor would wake at 6, then 8, then 10, then noon. The schedule that never really settled but became familiar anyway. New job going well, new life in progress, new version of herself emerging daily. Better, stronger, wiser, more herself than she'd been in years. The glass had shattered that morning. The morning she'd found those texts. The morning her entire world exploded while she held a positive pregnancy test. But glass, when shattered, becomes something else. Something sharp that can cut through lies. Something that catches light differently. Something transformed. She'd been shattered. Now she was transformed. And transformation, she'd learned, was just another word for strength, for survival, for refusing to stay broken. Her last thought before sleep: we're going to be okay. Better than okay. We're going to be absolutely fine. Eleanor woke at 5:58, close enough to 6 that Becca's alarm was unnecessary. Baby internal clocks were mysterious and precise. She got up, changed Eleanor's diaper while singing off-key, fed her while watching the sun actually rise this time, burped her while walking their small apartment, put her in the bouncer while making breakfast. Real breakfast. Not just coffee and granola bars. Actual eggs and toast. Catherine had given her a lecture about taking care of herself, about how she couldn't pour from an empty cup. You matter too, Catherine had said, not just as a mother, as a person. Eat real food, sleep when you can, ask for help. So Becca ate real food, asked for help, accepted it when offered. Revolutionary concepts that felt uncomfortable and necessary. Her phone rang at 7. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer. But it might be work, might be important. Hello? Becca, it's Margaret. Graham's mother. They hadn't spoken since that disastrous phone call months ago. The one where Margaret had threatened grandparents' rights, where Becca had hung up and blocked her number. How did you get this number? I have my ways. Please don't hang up. I need to talk to you. Becca looked at Eleanor, her daughter who deserved to know her grandmother, her daughter who also deserved protection from toxic people. You have 2 minutes. I was wrong. About everything. About Graham. About you. About what you should have done. Margaret's voice cracked. I saw what I wanted to see, my son, my perfect Tuan who could do no wrong, and I made you the villain in a story where you were actually the victim. Becca sat down. This wasn't what she'd expected. Why are you telling me this? Because I met Vanessa last week. She brought James to visit. my other grandchild, the one I didn't know existed until after you'd left. Margaret took a shaky breath. She told me everything. How Graham lied to her, used her, made her think you were the problem. And I realized I did the same thing. I believed his lies because believing them was easier than admitting my son is not a good man. Margaret, let me finish, please. I owe you this. Another breath. You protected yourself and your baby. You set boundaries. You refused to accept less than you deserved. That wasn't cruel. That was brave. And I called you selfish for it. I'm sorry. Becca looked at Eleanor, thought about what she'd want in Margaret's position, thought about grace and boundaries and second chances. I appreciate the apology. I'd like to meet Eleanor, if you'll allow it. I understand if you say no. I understand if you need time. But I'm her grandmother, and I'd like to be part of her life, if you'll let me. We can discuss it. Through Diane. She'll set up terms, boundaries, rules. I understand, thank you. That's more than I deserve. Margaret hung up. Becca sat with the phone in her hand, processing, considering, deciding. She called Diane, told her about the conversation. What do you want to do? Diane asked. I want Eleanor to know her grandmother, but I need protection. I need boundaries. I need to know she won't undermine me or make excuses for Graham or teach Eleanor that forgiveness means accepting betrayal. I'll draft an agreement, supervise visits at first, regular schedule, clear boundaries. Any violation means consequences. Eleanor gets a grandmother. You get protection. Perfect. That afternoon, Becca took Eleanor to the park. Small park near their apartment. Swings and slides and benches for exhausted parents. She sat on a bench with Eleanor in the stroller. Watched other families, other mothers, other lives. Some looked easy, some looked hard. All looked real. A woman sat down next to her, maybe 40. 2 kids on the playground, wedding ring, tired eyes. How old? She asked, nodding at Eleanor. 3 months. Beautiful. Mine are 7 and 5. It gets easier, then harder, then easier again. That's not encouraging. The woman laughed. Motherhood's not about easy. It's about showing up, being present, doing your best even when your best feels inadequate. You're here, that's what matters. I'm a single mom. Her father is not involved. My ex-husband lives 3 blocks away and sees the kids every other weekend. Sometimes involvement isn't what matters. Sometimes absence is a gift. How long have you been divorced? 3 years. Best decision I ever made. Hardest too, but necessary. The woman stood. You'll be fine. You're already doing it. She walked away, back to her kids, her life, her hard-won peace. Becca looked at Eleanor. Did you hear that? We're already doing it. Eleanor made a sound. Might have been agreement. Might have been probably gas. They stayed at the park for an hour, soaking in sunshine, watching clouds, being present, being a baby, being okay. The walk home took 20 minutes. Eleanor fell asleep in the stroller. The rhythm of walking always knocked her out. Becca carried the stroller up the stairs to their second-floor apartment, put Eleanor in the crib without waking her. Miracle. She sat at her laptop and checked work emails, planned an engagement party for 60 people, coordinated with florists, solved vendor conflicts. She was good at this. Creating beauty from chaos, making order from disorder, building something meaningful from scattered pieces. Kind of like her entire life. That night after Eleanor's 8 p.m. feeding, after the bedtime routine, after the monitor was on and the apartment was quiet, Becca stood at her window. The sun had set. The city lights glowed. People lived their lives in all those windows, their own stories, their own struggles, their own victories. She pulled out her phone, opened her notes, read her goals again. Everything checked off, everything accomplished, everything she'd thought was impossible 6 months ago. She added one final line. Forgive myself for staying as long as I did. Celebrate myself for leaving when I did. Thank myself for surviving what I've survived. Eleanor cried at 9:30. Brief wake, quick diaper change. Back to sleep. Becca climbed into bed. Her small bed in her small room in her small apartment that was actually huge with possibility. Tomorrow she'd coordinate a wedding, come home to Eleanor, Have dinner with Diane and Tom. Live her life. The life she'd built, the life she'd chosen, the life that was hers. Not perfect, not easy, but honest, real, worth living. Her last thought before sleep: the glass shattered. But I didn't. I transformed. And that's enough. More than enough. It's everything. So there you have it. Becca rebuilt her entire life. Eleanor has a mother who chose strength over comfort. And Graham? Well, karma caught up with him in ways he never imagined. But here's my question for you. Have you ever had to choose between what was comfortable and what was right? Have you ever had to rebuild after everything fell apart? Drop a comment below. I read every single one. Your story matters. And listen, if this story resonated with you, do me a favor. Hit that like button. It tells me you want more real stories about real people facing impossible situations and coming out stronger. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. That friend going through a divorce, that sister questioning her relationship, that coworker who needs a reminder that starting over is possible. They need this story. You know who they are. And if you're not subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Click that subscribe button. Turn on notifications. Because I share stories like this every single week. Stories about strength, survival, transformation, real people facing real problems and finding real solutions. You deserve stories that respect your intelligence, that honor your experiences, that remind you that you're stronger than you think. So like, comment, share, and subscribe. Let's build a community of people who refuse to settle, who choose themselves, who know their worth. I'll see you in the next story. Until then, remember, the prison door was unlocked all along. You just have to walk through. Take care of yourself. You're worth it.